Hi, my name is Brian Christer. I'm the instructor for how to become a Docker Power user with Visual Studio Code. I have a couple questions for you. Are you using Visual Studio Code for Docker projects? Are you still writing Docker files and Docker Compose files manually? You know what? I did too, because I had Visual Studio Code and the Docker extension installed for quite some time. But it was only when I started debugging a problem I was having, I uncovered all the features available within the Docker extension. And that's really when I start asking other people, hey, are you using the Docker extension to its fullest capabilities? And most people said no, didn't even realize the capabilities available within the Docker extension. For example, when I write a Docker file, I start with the first command and it's from. The first line of every Docker file is from, and I type fr. And with the Docker extension, it does Intellisense recognition of my commands, and it actually predicts what command I want to type in the Docker file. And it auto completes and it says, do you mean the from command? And then it actually provides all this documentation within the Visual Studio Code editor about the from command, all the possible syntax possibilities. And it gives me suggestions. And finally, it actually links to the Docker documentation directly if I want more questions. And it really makes your workflow so much easier because you never have to leave the Visual Studio Code editor. Additionally, when I'm typing in an image name within the editor, previously I had to go out to Docker Hub. I had to open a new browser tab, go to Docker Hub, search for the image name, search for the version. Sometimes this took 1 to 3 to 5 minutes. It took quite some time to find this information, and it's context switching. And your mind doesn't handle this context switching well, because every time you have to switch tasks, you're losing productivity. If I can stay in the same window and achieve the same results, you become more productive. And that's what Visual Studio Code and the Docker extension provides. So now I can query Docker Hub through the Visual Studio Code Docker extension editor. I can query Docker Hub directly. And that's brilliant because now I can ask Docker Hub, what's the image name? And it provides a list of all the images. I can click on the image and it gives me all the details about the image. It also tells you more documentation about the image. Additionally, if I want to get the version of that image, I can also query that information as well from Docker Hub. So I can write a Docker file much easier through Visual Studio Code with the Docker extension. It makes me much more efficient. And that's really just one of the many features the Docker extension provides. Now join me in the next video as we talk about how developers, operations, and Docker love using Visual Studio Code.